Welcome to the latest episode of the Mind Body Health Podcast with myself, Dave Sheahan, high performance consultant and dedicated for over 25 years to educating, motivating, and hopefully inspiring people just like you to become the best that you can be, realize your full potential, and importantly, live the life of your dreams, and even more importantly, to experience happiness. That's what it's all about. And a key foundation, which I stress in this podcast and a lot of the work that I do out there, is key foundation is having control of the mind body health area of your life. So I hope you're enjoying this podcast. If you're new to this podcast, welcome. I hope you enjoy this episode, and I hope you'll enjoy previous episodes if you enjoy this one and you start following us and follow us across all social media as well as on podcasts. Now, so this is going to be our final podcast of the year 2021, depending on when you're listening to this. It might be now, it might be in a few years' time, who knows, but it's a final podcast of the year. It's been a great year podcast wise, and your feedback's been amazing. And on this particular podcast, I'm going to speak about how you're going to finish really, really strong, taking into consideration that Christmas is around the corner and the new year is around the corner too. But it's important again to finish strong regardless. You know, this is the time of year when people start hitting into November, especially as you go to late November. And in typical times, Christmas parties would start kicking in. People start socializing a lot. People typically lose the plot completely and just basically drop everything to do with health and well-being and, you know, exercise, nutrition, sleep, the whole lot. All the good stuff goes, all the bad stuff comes in. And there's nothing wrong with doing that when it's in a controlled situation in terms of you're consciously deciding to, you know, you're having good phases of the week as well as where you're off track. But when it's a case of you have a month or even more of going completely off the rails, that's only going to have negative impacts, not just in your physical shape, not just on your waistline, not just in your energy, not just on your overall health and well-being, but also even on your mentality, you know, your psychology, your thought process, your motivation, everything. And a lot of people will get to this point of year and they say, oh, look, I've too much going on, too much at work, too much with parties, too much with socializing, too much with families, too much with buying presents and shopping. I'll just start again in January. And it's great intentions, and it's a great excuse and justification into someone's head as to why they should do that. The reality, complete bollocks. That's all it is. It's just excuses. It's just justifying poor actions and behaviors to yourself, because there is no need for anybody to completely switch off for a month or month and a half like some people do. Some people, it can be from mid-November all the way to the start of the new year. And then they want to start with great intentions. The problem is when you get into bad habits, it's like the same with good habits or bad habits. When you're in a routine, when you're consistently doing something, it gets more and more embedded and entrenched in your lifestyle. So when you're living badly, it gets very hard to break that. Just like when you're living really, really good, it's actually quite hard to break that too. But if you start to break either, and you start to do it consistently, then you start to really fall off the track. So if you start to fall off track in November or December or whenever, and day after day, you're starting to eat less healthy, make poor choices, have more processed food, have more junk, consume more alcohol, sleep less, you know, not feed your mindset as much as you should, all this kind of stuff, it's going to have a negative impact on you. So my very first point I want to make to you is don't switch off. Whenever you listen to this, don't switch off. Remember, life is about having control, success, happiness, fulfillment, being in good shape, having great health, optimal health. All these things rely on you having the ability, the skill to switch on and off as you decide to. Not society, not other people, not that lazy part of your brain, that you decide when you're switching on and off. That's what matters most. And the way it should be, that's why I say every single year to people, you should be saying switched on all the way up to maybe the 23rd or so of December, and then switch off then till maybe 27, 28, then 28, 27, 28 until the start of the new year. You know, work on getting back on track. It doesn't have to be perfect, just be better. And then from basically the 1st, 2nd of January, go for it 100% back on track again. It's the same as on a weekly basis. Have your 1 or 2 days, which are like your break, your cheat day, your reward day, whatever you want to call it. Good all the time up to that. Then those 1 or 2 days, break out of it. Same as when you go on holidays. Good all the time up to it. The day you're going to go on that plane or boat or in the car, or whatever you're doing for your holiday, switch off completely. Whatever happens, happens. When you get back, switch back on again. This is what's key. This is how you lead a very happy, successful, fulfilling life. You know, getting balance. It's about having the right balance and deciding your balance. So one thing is, like I said, don't be making excuses to yourself as to why it's okay for you to completely switch off now until the start of January, because it's complete rubbish. You're only justifying it to yourself. We're very good at justifying poor actions and decisions and poor behaviors to ourselves, because no one wants to feel bad. And if we make a justification in our own heads, then we won't feel bad. That's why we do it. We're weak in that way. And this is where you have to get stronger and mentally stronger. And as I said, live consciously and live in control. So that's the first thing. Now, it doesn't mean you don't have things on the way up to Christmas. From now to the 23rd, doesn't mean you don't have things. You may have stuff on during the week, meeting friends, might be Christmas work party, social get-togethers, whatever it might be, that's fine. But what you do is, the day you have it, still eat regular throughout the day, but eat less. So it's like storing up the calories, okay? So these are little tricks that means that, you're not going to dramatically, in a negative way, affect your waistline, your fat levels, your energy levels, none of that, because it's about balance, okay? So if you have something on the evening, whether it be drink, food, or both, during the day, still eat regular, because some people will starve themselves, which is the wrong thing to do. Because when you starve yourself, your body, when it does get something, it goes, okay, I don't want to getting food or liquid again. Stores in the liver, and most of the time that'll convert to fat, okay? And also it's a shock to the system anyway, so it creates havoc with your insulin levels. So what you do is, if you normally have 3 meals, 4 meals all the way throughout the day up to leaving time, still have them, just have less, have smaller meals, lower calorie meals. And then when it gets to the evening, enjoy yourself. The other thing that's important is, for every occasion you have, make a decision on whether you're going to have no rules, so you eat and drink whatever the hell you want. You're going to be really, really good, so you're not going to go mad. You just have a very specific limit, or have nothing. You just eat healthy and drink nothing, just water. Or something in the middle, where you have a certain level of boundary and you're going to stick to that, and that's it. Make the decision. Don't just go out, because what happens when you go out, you get led by other people. What happens when you go out, you have 1 or 2 drinks, you get a little bit tipsy, merry, and then you're gone. And once that happens, anybody, like, the defenses are down and you're off and running, having whatever amount of alcohol. And, you're out of control. And what happens then is you feel disappointed in yourself, because you didn't kind of really want to do that. And then it happens. Okay, so this is what I'm saying about control. There's nothing wrong with you going having a crazy night out. If you have 20, 30 drinks, I don't care. What matters is that you make the decision to do that. And what matters is the next day you get back on track again. Okay. Now, while we're speaking of alcohol, would you like to never have a hangover again? Would you like to never have a hangover again? Who the hell wants a hangover? It is very, very easy to avoid a hangover and prevent one, but you have to do something. What you have to do? Make sure you drink lots of water before you go out, or before you start drinking. Make sure you drink regular water while you're drinking, and then make sure you drink lots of water after you finish drinking. If you do that, I can guarantee you will wake up the next morning, you would not have a hangover. You would still feel tired, because the body can't sleep properly. Your mind can't sleep when you have alcohol in your system. So you won't get deep REM sleep, okay? So that can't be avoided. But you will not have the sick stomach. You will not have the vomiting. You will not have the headache. You will not have the terrible sensations and feelings. You will not have the terrible cravings, because the water will keep you hydrated, because a hangover is literally dehydration. It's the impact, the effects of dehydration. Like, if you were to just get dehydrated, you were stuck in a mountain, couldn't get any water, no water for days, you'll have similar feelings, okay? So that's how you avoid a hangover. Just do that. The amount of people have said it to over the years, and some have done it, they've always said it's amazing the difference they felt, and others then have not done it. But maybe they like hangovers, I don't know. So that's the alcohol side of things, okay? And like I said, when you're going out, still eat throughout the day, but just eat less every time, okay? It's like storing up the calories. So it's like, if you have just pick 500 calories a meal 5 times in a day, that's 2,500 calories. That night, you're going to probably have 1,500 calories because of the drink and the food. Each meal, instead of 200 or 300 calories, then you've stored up, what's that, about 700, 800 calories for the end of the day. So overall, the impact isn't that bad, even though you might have a huge meal and loads of alcohol in the evening time. That makes sense? So number 1, don't switch off now. Wait until about the 23rd. And on 23rd, switch off, and then switch back on again, 27, 28, ease in for a few days, and then full throttle from 1st or 2nd of January. Realistic, huh? You can do that? I'm sure you can. It should be realistic for anybody, because you're still getting to switch off, and you're still getting to have fun. You're still getting to indulge, but you're also setting parameters to get back on track again, okay? Days you're going to have stuff going on, party, socializing, whatever it might be. Eat less every meal, still eat regular, but eat less, and then enjoy your evening. Third thing, Set boundaries. Decide whether you're going out with no rules, some rules, or you're going to stay perfect and just keep it a healthy day and just enjoy the social aspect. But food and liquids are going to be good, on track. Okay? And avoid a hangover by drinking tons and tons of water. Before you start drinking, while you're drinking, after you finish drinking. Okay? Now, it's really important to exercise. Okay? You're on an exercise routine now, whether it's hit and miss, whether it's consistent. Again, why stop it now till January? It makes absolutely no sense. Exercise has so many benefits, not just the physical shape side of things and fat loss and muscle tone, but just overall health, posture, bone density, optimal health, your mental health, which is absolutely massive. And also, again, if you're going to have a more indulgent time between now and Christmas, exercise is the best way to sweat out those toxins from alcohol. Okay, and burn off calories. So, if you drink alcohol, it's in your system. It stays in your system, still impacts your system, in a negative way. You exercise the next day as early as possible, even if it's like a fast walk or something, you're going to sweat it out. That's why the next day after drinking, you always sweat more when you're exercising. You sweat more in general, but you sweat more exercising. The body's trying to get it the hell out of it. It's poison. Alcohol is poison. So the body's trying to get it out of its system. Okay. So if you exercise straight away, when you get up in the morning in some form, it'll sweat it out. You feel much better. So keep exercising in general, keep up your routine. Now, if you normally exercise, let's say 5-6 days a week for an hour, because of work commitments or family commitments or parties or whatever it might be, maybe you might need to change it to 3 or 4 days, or maybe it's 5 days for 20 minutes. It doesn't matter. The main thing is keep the routine going. There's no reason to drop the exercise, just like there's no reason to drop the food or the water. There's no reason, but people do it. They just drop everything. Okay. But with the exercise, just adjust your routine if you need to. If you can't stay fully on track, or if you decide, look, I want to relax a little bit now for the month of December, that's cool. You're making the decision, but never just drop exercise. It's okay to decide maybe for a week you're not going to exercise because your body needs a break or something, but not for weeks on end or a month or 2 months. That's just not good. Okay. You need to keep exercising. You need to keep moving, especially in the sedentary world we live in now. Exercise is necessity for everybody. For, again, not just body shape, but health, posture, bone density, all these different benefits. So make sure, again, you keep exercising, even if it's a lower level intensity, even if it's for less duration, even if each workout is shorter, it doesn't matter. The main thing is to keep exercising. Like, your goal between now and after Christmas is that you break even. Not do you gain any fat. You shouldn't be. People just like resign themselves. Oh, I'm going to gain loads of fat now till after Christmas and I'm going to lose in January. Why? Why do you want to gain fat? You don't need to. All you have to do is stay reasonably on track, balance things out. Like I'm saying, on the day that you're going to have an indulgent night, during the day, still eat regular, but eat less. It's going to be the same kind of day overall, more or less, especially if you exercise the next morning to sweat out the toxins out of your system. So there's no reason not to exercise, no reason not to do the right things. It just means that this time of year, you might be balanced out a bit. Like for me, even personally, I'm staying on track now, these next couple of weeks. And then for a week or two before Christmas, I'll be switching off. I won't be going crazy, but if I want something, I'll have it. If I don't want to exercise, I won't exercise. I'll be sleeping as much as I can, all that kind of stuff. So I'll be relaxing. Then the week of Christmas, I'll be eating a lot. Drink isn't a big deal to me, but I'll have some drink. And then once it hit 27, 28, I'll be getting back on track. And then once it started January, I'll be going full throttle for my 2022 goals. Okay. Because time keeps passing, time moves fast. So, we don't want to waste it either. Okay. So that's really important. And throughout this month as well, don't just switch off again from your goals, move towards your goals. Now, why not move towards your goals during the month? Again, even if it's slower, remember, this month for so many people ends up being a write-off. Why? Keep moving forward. It might be the same pace it was in November or July or March or February. It doesn't matter. It's still forward. You might be on a go. So it's like when we're leading up to a holiday, the week or two before, we just find it harder when it should be a time when you can go harder because you're getting a break. You think, right, you can just give it that extra bit more to go harder just before the holiday. It actually works the opposite for most people. They actually find it really hard to go and keep going. So it'll be the same now. But keep pushing on once you're moving forward. Remember, like I always say, it's about taking steps in the right direction. And if you just even take one step in the right direction, you're still moving forward. That's all that matters. Move forward, move forward, move forward. So even if December isn't a life-changing month, if it's something in the right direction, it's positive. So keep clear of your goals and also use it as a month as well. What's really important now till the end of the year, reflect a lot. Reflect on this year a lot. Reflect on what you've done, your accomplishments, note your accomplishments, acknowledge your accomplishments, acknowledge all the lessons you've learned from good experiences as well as bad experiences. Identify things that you wish you had done or you committed to do or that you really want to do and you procrastinated on, or circumstances changed, or they actually didn't become as big a priority as they had been at the time. Reflect on all these kind of things. Look at the people who came into your life, the people who went out of your life. Why did it happen? Look at all these things, reflect, use as a time to reflect these few weeks. And then importantly, plan then. So reflect in terms of this year, reflect in terms of your whole life, what you want, what your life vision is, what is it you want out of life? And then plan for 2022 or whenever you listen to this, whatever the next year is, just as much as the next month, next week, next day. Always the same kind of process. Just, with it being an end of year podcast, I want you to focus on the bigger picture. But what is it you want to get out of next year, out of 2022, in the big scheme of things about what you want out of your life? What goals you have in your relationships, your mind, body, health, your professional life, your financial life? What is it you want out of those? What do you want to achieve by the end of 2022? And then what are the required action steps? And then looking at January 1st, January 2nd, whenever you get going again, what's the next action step? And then take it on from there. Remember, when you're trying to achieve goals, have the goal way out there, know the action steps way out there, but also pull all the action steps right back to right now. And then what's the next step? I can't stress enough to you how important it is to just get clear on what the next step is. It's all that actually matters. We get so overwhelmed with what's ahead. We get so overwhelmed about the 50th or 60th step when we haven't even taken the next one. Focus on the next step. You're not going to get up that stairs unless you take that first step. Doesn't matter if there's 1,000 steps in the stairs or 20. That first step is the one you put your foot on. So get focused on that. So, use these few weeks, finish this year really strong. I always say this, where it be for finishing a day strong, a week strong, a month strong, a quarter strong, a year strong, a decade strong, your life strong. With this being end of year podcast, I'm focused on a year, but finish it strong. Always finish strong because you can, and it gains momentum then going into the next phase of your life. Use the time to reflect, as I said, reflect on everything in this year, reflect in terms of the big scheme of things about what you want out of life, and plan then for what you want in the next phase, the next 12 months of your life. Don't take the foot off the pedal in terms of don't take it completely off. Ease it a little bit if you're going to, but don't take it off completely for exercise or food or just general life or moving towards your goals. Keep doing a bit. Accept that it might be a month that you're going to go full throttle. You make the decisions. You're in control. If you decide to make it be a crazy month where you do nothing, make sure it's you deciding that, not society or friends or anything like that. You decide your parameters. You decide the boundaries. It's up to you what you do. So whatever way the month goes, you have made it be that way. You are the one who controls everything, remember? So don't make excuses about anything. Use the tips I said about alcohol. Drink lots of water before, during, and after. Save up the calories during the day by still eating regular, but eating less. Make decisions on what you're going to do when you're going out on social occasions. Are you going to just have no rules whatsoever? Are you going to stay 100% on track? Or are you going to go somewhere in between with a certain level of boundaries? Stay focused up to the 23rd of December, then switch off until 27th or so. Then get gradually back on track. Then 1st or 2nd January, full throttle again. Is there anything unrealistic about this? I always work with people and giving them very simple steps that leave no room for excuses. I don't feel that what I've said to you can leave any room for excuses because it's achievable for anybody. Doesn't matter who you are. And if you feel it, there's anything I've said isn't possible, I'd love to hear from you. Shoot me a message on any of the social medias or contact me on my website or fire me an email, whatever it might be. I'd love to hear from you, just like feedback. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Mind Body Health podcast. It's been a great year for the podcast. I hope you've enjoyed all the episodes. I welcome all the time your suggestions, your feedback, your questions, what it is you'd like me to do on the show, what you'd like me to share, guests you'd like me to have. I have some great guests now lined up for interviews. The next phase of the Mind Body Health podcast can be based on interviews. Up to now, these first 50 episodes have been me sharing stuff with you. The next 50 are going to be all interviews, and I have some incredible people lined up to interview every week in 2022. So I'm excited about that and excited to bring these interviews to you. So, get focused, keep doing your best, finish the year strong. Give me your feedback. Give us a rate and review on iTunes if you're listening to it there. And have a wonderful Christmas. Wishing you the best for the rest of this year. Finish it strong, and Happy New Year to you as well. And keep up good work. Make sure you follow me across all social media. Check out our website where there's tons of stuff on that too. And as I say, catch up on previous episodes of the podcast and share it out there. Make sure people know about this because people need to hear these messages. It will help them. Take care. Have a good one. finish strong.